Welcome back to more NAB 2024 coverage. I'm here with Paulette Pantoja, the CEO and founder of Blu Digital Group.
That's correct. Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us how the company came about, how you got started?
Well, I founded the company back in December of 2007. Saw there was a need back then for quality control in the Blu-ray format, hence the name Blu at the time, but we slowly evolved
That would
since
never
then.
date.
No, never at all. But Blu means crisp, clear,
Yeah.
Blue Ocean strategy. I was thinking that far ahead, yeah. So I founded that from my apartment building.
Wow.
And that's it, rest is history.
And who knew that we would arrive here in 2024 where distribution has become this massive, mega complex situation, and your little apartment company is a big deal.
I know, it's been absolutely nuts to see how distribution of media has totally evolved and changed since those physical media discs now we call coasters now. But it's actually amazing just to see how much great content is being created and the need for its distribution worldwide.
So actually, why don't you share, like, for people that don't get it, what is the problem? Like, why all of a sudden is this a big deal?
I mean, I think we've seen the last few years the evolution of distribution of media, especially with COVID. It just thrust everybody into consuming content in a digital format, handheld. I mean, it was going that way anyway, but everyone going home, I think it just really moved things really quickly. So lots of content went out the few years, and this last year I think was about, let's look at our costs. Let's look at how technology, AI, cloud-based processes, workflow orchestration has really affected the distribution of content. And so I think everyone's looking at what are ways to modernize workflows, look more efficiently. And so I think that's the biggest changes in how we're going to incorporate things like AI, for instance. There's a lot of changes happening.
I'm curious, anecdotally, it seems to me, and we've talked about this with a couple of other guests, seems like Americans in particular have become a lot more tolerant with watching foreign content that's been localized. They used to kind of, if it was subtitles, forget about it, was kind of the olden days. And I guess with Netflix and the fact that certainly with the strike there wasn't a lot of content out there.
Very true.
It seems like people have become used to consuming other content. A lot of young people watching Korean, K-pop, things like that, K-drama.
Yep.
So that's been part of this trend, right, to more localization and the reuse of content across multiple markets.
I think it's a combination as well as hardware is advanced and it's a lot easier to create content. And content is not just a US-based thing, and there's a lot of amazing content that's made internationally everywhere else that's now being seen over here in the States. And you're absolutely correct. Now we're having to look at English dubbing. And I think Squid Game was a huge part of that and how that really changed everything. And so now a lot of content's being licensed overseas because it's phenomenal content. And it's coming over, and we as Americans have to get used to seeing things dubbed, and I think we are.
That's great. Can it be good to have a world that actually tolerates and embraces other cultures and their media, and appreciates those stories that are being told across the world. So that's really fun aspect of this. So tell us a little bit about what does this look like for your company and what you do. You're SaaS, but you're also offering service in terms of implementation, but it's a hybrid approach. Companies can kind of use you in multiple different ways, right, in terms of how they consume your services.
Correct. So we're part of the whole digital distribution supply chain for film and TV content. So services, we're distributing that content, doing all of the geeky stuff in the back end, doing the transcoding, metadata, and delivery to video streaming platforms. But we're doing it with our own software that we created. So we have a total SaaS division where we're licensing our cloud-based workflows, and I think that's really catching on, especially as we talked about what's happened this last year. So we have a hybrid business model of services, but also our software, which is cloud-based workflow orchestration, project management, and actually doing media processing in the cloud as well.
And how much, for your company personally, is AI contributing? Are you using it in any of the translation services? Is that part of the game now?
We do, and it really depends on the client. It's a very sensitive area, and obviously we're looking at how things are changing, but we apply the human touch to it as well. So we leverage AI where necessary. It's a collaborative tool. It's not something that's replacing human beings. We're not Skynet yet, but we're heading there, right? So for now, what we're doing is incorporating it into our workflows to kind of help things out, but it really depends on the client. And yeah, there's a lot of sensitivity to it
And
right now.
do you have a network of QC, of languages and everything? Like, is that part of what you provide?
Yes, so we provide total localization. So we have over 9,000 translators doing subtitling. We have offices where we do dubbing as well, really helping localize content so that content can be enjoyed everywhere.
And how do you know they're not making stuff up? These
We never know, do we?
I'm just always curious. I always think someone in one of those localization groups wanted to mess with you. How are you going to know?
Someone will find out. We'll hear about it, right? The studio will hear about it.
Yeah. Where's all this headed? I mean, what are the kind of big trends? Is it just more, or are there kind of some interesting things that are opening up?
I think things are changing so rapidly that, I mean, next year when we're here, I don't even know what's going to be the thing, right? But it used to be 20 years changing, 10 years, 5 years, and now it's literally days. So I'm really excited to see what's going to be happening just in the next few months because it's just evolving and changing so rapidly.
And I'm curious, so you have a team of developers, obviously. How are you handling, I mean, it's funny, change management has been a thing for, I guess, 20 years now. It's like a position at companies, but now it is change management. So how do you approach that to make sure that you're staying on the cusp of all the developments?
Well, first of all, I was hiring the right people who sort of lead those divisions, and so we have a great engineering team, a great IT team, technology team, and their jobs is to constantly be aware of what's going on, right? Going to things like NAB, going to classes and everything, and just kind of really loving and having a passion for technology. And I think if you love what you're doing, you're automatically going to start embracing new things, being early adopters to things, experimenting, R&D and all that, and we try to always stay abreast of new things, play around with it. It's fun.
Awesome. If people are curious about Blu Digital Group, where can they find out more?
Our website, bludigitalgroup.com.
It's amazing.
Sometimes I'm on the corner on the street, you know,
there you go, just hanging out.
Just say hi.
Coffee shop. Yeah. And there's no E in blue because it's
Yeah. I'm always there.
It's Blu-ray.
It's blue. Yeah, it's blue.
Well, Blu-ray is forever. So.
Yes, exactly. It'll always be there.
All right, Paulette. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's been a fun conversation. Appreciate it.